everyone's against it, and I also just don't feel as strongly like negatively towards this as like a
Okay.
lot of other people do. Like obviously Rocksteady hasn't made this type of game before.
Mhm.
It's a big departure from what they have made.
Absolutely.
But like I don't know, if the game's ass, like it is what it is. I don't think we need to dogpile it like we have been.
I got you.
Cause it's like I get it. We don't want live service games, so we gotta let them know that.
Mhm.
But it just feels like so much of it is in like bad faith. There's no actual conversation. It's just like, hey,
Okay.
shitty Suicide Squad game, and that's like the full extent of it. Or it's like, I don't know. Like if the, whatever. I don't know.
You know what?
Maybe I'm
You
just
no, no,
not
no,
seeing.
you got a
I
pretty
don't
good point.
because I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, ultimately, the game probably shouldn't exist in the way that it does.
Mhm.
But I have always been like, well, let's see it for what it is, rather than what it should have been or what it isn't.
Mhm.
Because like Gotham Knights by no means was game of the year, and general consensus is that it's not very good at all. I don't know. I didn't mind it. Like, would I recommend it? I mean, probably not because of the reputation it has. But even still, like, I didn't hate it.
Right.
I like enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a different game, right? It's still
Right.
got like that looter aspect. It's a DC property. It's not what people thought it was gonna be. It has a lot of like things in common with this, but it also, is a live service. Doesn't have a battle pass.
So
Doesn't have like paid. I don't know. It like this. This one's difficult for me because it's like there are obviously issues with it, but I feel like the issues and like the things that probably aren't as closely tied to the issues, they're just sort of like bleeding together into this thing that like people see and they just see red, rather than like, ooh, I hate this aspect of it. Let's see if the rest can make up for it.
Okay.
I feel like that. I don't know. That might be is wishful thinking. That's for sure. But that's how I feel like things should be about this. But
real quick, bro. So I feel like you was on to a different point that I kind of noticed earlier, and I'm definitely guilty of doing this shit too. In the gaming industry, especially as of late, we kind of dog games hard. Like real hard, and it's starting to become a legitimate problem. We don't give games the fair shake,
but that's not always a bad thing, depending on the scenario. Like the general like feelings toward like the shitty aspects of that we don't like in any game is fair. But it's like, yeah, this whole thing just looks like dog shit. To me, that just doesn't. I just don't find that to be true personally, and I feel like that's where like the bleed in is coming in for me. But yeah, my bad, I cut you off.
It's okay.
Go right ahead.
You actually didn't cut me off. I was pretty much done right there. But there is this ongoing thing of game bad, and then obviously bad press gets more than the good press. So let's say for every Baldur's Gate 3 that we get way more news on fucking what's that game that just came out and died within the first 2 weeks or like a month? I think it was like the fastest game the day before. Like it is infinitely more profitable for people to just be like, hey, shit game, everybody look at this shit game. And it's happening more and more, and it's starting to bleed over into other games.
I'm raising my hand.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, I feel like nowadays expectations are starting to like overgrow like the game itself. Like with the day before, the expectation and hype around that game was Well, obviously, I think the studio behind that was also just a shitty studio that just didn't come out with. They just did false advertisements, basically. So it wasn't that was just a whole different scenario. But that you can kind of take a bit of that and like how the expectation of yes, I want this, and this in this game because that concept is cool.
Right.
And then when they don't come out with every single thing, all of it's bad, like Ty Willie said. Okay. And like with Suicide Squad, when you think of a concept of, hey, you get to play as the Suicide Squad going against all of the DC heroes that are brainwashed. Mm-hmm. Sounds pretty fucking cool. He's like, yeah, I like that. That's cool. And then he's like, oh, but it's a live
service. It got upgrading that looter shooter aspects to it.
But like, if you just like, because I'm pretty sure if you play the game and just forget about like all the expectations and all the hype that you had about, like, if you would just like a normie, have no idea what the fuck a E3 is, and then you hop into a GameStop, like you. But like back in as my brother say, back in my day, we used to just go to GameStop and the game was just there. We didn't see nothing about it. So like if we go back to that and like you just saw a Suicide Squad game, look at the back, see some pictures, say, hey, this seems pretty cool, play it. You're probably gonna have a decent time. Mm-hmm. Like you're not gonna love everything about it, like Tyrone said, but you're probably gonna have a decent time. Everybody wants like you said, another Baldur's Gate 3 where it is just perfect. There is nothing wrong with this game. Every little aspect that you want out of this game, you got. But you're just not gonna do that. You're just not gonna get that. It's damn like Baldur's Gate 3 was an anomaly that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
So having like Baldur's Gate 3 as like a tier, it's like, yeah, we want our game to deliver every single thing that you want, like Baldur's Gate 3 did. You just won't have that happen. You just can't. So that's why I feel like it's like just having a fun time with the games. Like, yeah, if you can have fun with bad games, you're living the best life. You're just like, if you can play Gotham Knights solo, no friends, and have a fun time, you're just winning. You're just winning.
You want to chime in on that one? You enjoy your time?
The nigga just talking about me. I don't know what you like.
You just winning.
What I did.
He was vibing out of that game.
He said a game. He said exactly how I interacted with that game. Just like, yeah, you might be winning, whoever you are. And then stared at him. Yeah,
oh my God.
I mean, but enjoying bad games. I don't think people should do that. Like, if they should have forced themselves to enjoy something that they don't like.
Oh yeah,
but I think people get so volatile when it comes to like just anything that is like it. I feel like I picked the wrong battle to fight, like specifically with this game.
Yeah,
because it could come out and it could be like just bad, right? It could just be like another Avengers where it's like the story is cool, but like all the live service stuff is just like really poorly implemented, and it just doesn't fit the setting, doesn't fit the character. It could come out and be just like that. And if that happens, like a lot of people will be like, yeah, I mean, well, what did you expect? Well, it was like, I was hoping for better. I wasn't expecting better, but I was hoping for better, you know? And that's something that you're not gonna get much anymore.
Alright, so what's going on?
I feel like no, obviously no fault to them, but I feel like I feel like a lot of people, when they hear like Marvel DC title, I feel like they immediately, since they set the bar so high, I think they immediately are expecting Spider-Man, like Batman Arkham series, like type of game, like something to that high of a standard. Every time they announce like it's a superhero world game, DC Marvel heroes villains, they like, oh okay, so this like I feel like that's the picture that is like put in their head, obviously, you know, because the games are so damn good. And what they did worked so well. I think they immediately think like, okay, well they're gonna do some shit like that because that shit was great.
That's what I did.
So why wouldn't they do some shit like that?
Yeah.
And then they don't do that, and then people are like, oh, well, what the hell why the hell didn't you do it like that?
Yeah, I'm guilty of that, 100%.
It's like that shit worked so well. Why didn't you just do that? But with these people,
and
like with these characters.
I will say, there was another really good superhero game that came out. It wasn't made by Rocksteady, wasn't made by Insomniac, and no one played it. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Now that's an outlier. That is an outlier. Generally speaking, you're on to something. Because like people will be like they'll hold these games to like the standard of like the pinnacle of what superhero games can be. But when a game came out and it was up there, it was pretty good. Like I'd say I like it better than some of like the top tiers of the super. No one played it because well, I think that was due to the reputation of Avengers, though. It was like an association thing. It was like, oh well, this reminds me of Avengers, and that's dog shit. But it is still kind of crazy because I feel like that game should be more celebrated, but instead, it comes back to what Fearless brought up earlier, where it's like they're just piling on like the shitty stuff, and like. Not only did the game not get played, but like its praises just don't get sung like much at all. Because it's like, yeah, like the people that played it are like, oh, this game's great, but it's like that number is so small, it just gets drowned out by everyone shitting on the other stuff.
Yeah, people are drawn to negativity.